Hey guys, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss the brand new 2018 horror thriller, Birdbox, directed by Susan Bier, produced by Sandra Bullock, as well as Susan Bier, starring Sandra Bullock, Tavante, forget his last name, you also have B.D. Wong, you have John Malkovich, you have Machine Gun Kelly for a very brief moment in time, you have the girl who plays Willardine Dixon in Netflix's original Dumplin'. This is also a Netflix original film based off of a book, which I've never read. The plot is something happens. There's a apocalypse amongst the people that starts in Eastern Europe, travels into Russia, then makes its way into Alaska and down the west coast of the US. If you see these creatures, which are invisible, then you start to see things and then you want to kill yourself. But then there are people that are immune and then just see the beauty that's around anyway, something to that extent. So it's a very quick little bringing about as to what's going on. Now, when they first announced this and the trailer first dropped, everyone was like, oh, well, this is just a takeoff on A Quiet Place, which was a hit this past winter. John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, that if you make a sound, then the creatures, which are aliens, will attack you and eat you, as they lost their son who played with a spaceship. But further into this, when this movie first premiered, everyone was comparing it to M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening, starring Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel, way back in the day. And I remember seeing that with my brother because it was the next M. Night Shyamalan movie, and we were so excited. And the trailer made it look awesome. And then we're watching it, and we're like, what the hell is this nonsense? Like, it's good in concept, but execution just did not make sense. I remember distinctly when the guy laid in front of the lawnmower to get killed, to kill himself in The Happening, I laughed in the theater. And when the guy jumped in the lion's pit or something like that, I laughed. My brother and I were just laughing our asses off the entire movie because it wasn't explained. Something that, like, Mother Nature's wreaking havoc and, like, forcing everyone to kill themselves through the plants, just to stay away from plants. It was weird. But this film, oh, Sarah Paulson's also in this. Sarah Paulson plays Sandra Bullock's sister. Awesome to see the two legends on screen together. This one had it as an unknown creature, an unknown source that can multiply quickly and will whisper past dead loved ones into your mind to make you want to see the beauty around you and then eventually kill yourself. So Sandra Bullock and her Mallory and her sister, played by Sarah Paulson, are at an OBGYN appointment, getting an ultrasound, discussing Sandra Bullock's pregnancy. Then on their way out, some woman is, killing herself in a hallway of the hospital. Then all hell breaks loose. Then eventually Sarah Paulson sees whatever everybody else is seeing and flips their car over. And then Mallory gets dragged into a house that is B.D. Wong and his husband's house. We don't actually see his husband. Then John Malkovich and his wife, Lydia, is one of the neighbors. Lydia sees Sandra Bullock is pregnant and fallen and then tries to, help her, but then sees her dead mother and then goes into a burning car. Devante, whose last name I can't remember, plays this character Tom, who helps Sandra Bullock up off the street, brings them into the house. So that movie takes place in the present, as in 5 years after all this happened, as in Sandra Bullock and two kids are trying to get down a river to some kind of sanctuary, as well as the past, when the 5 years prior apocalypse started. And it's interesting because it's not zombies, it's you have these immune people who are forcing people to see, and Jordan Peele is also in this. A lot of people are in this movie, but then you have people who aren't immune and have to make sure they have blindfolds on when they're outside so they don't see anything. Sandra Bullock has a son. The girl who plays Willardine Dixon in Dumplin' has a daughter. Sandra Bullock just refers to them as boy and girl through the 5 years of their upbringing. So then Sandra Bullock, Devante, and the two kids eventually try to get onto the river because they're talking to someone on a walkie to get to this sanctuary to just listen to the birds. Now, the concept of the bird box is they keep birds in a box on the river to, in case there's danger around, then the birds will chirp because the birds sense the weirdness around, so they notify for danger. It's a nice little premise. It makes sense to have something natural warn you about something else that's happening. Tom eventually has to save the family. So then, you know, all hell breaks loose within the house in general. People keep dying one way or another. So it's Tom and Mallory in the house raising the kids for 5 years. Eventually they get the word that the sanctuary exists. They have to go down the river. So the concept is to get down the river. After a 48-hour stint, Tom eventually kills himself because he sees something. They eventually get to the sanctuary, which is a school for blind, and there's birds all in this aviary. Aviary? I think it's an aviary. And then one of the people that is helping at this school for the blind happens to be the OBGYN doctor that we first meet, you know, in the beginning of the movie, the doctor. So it was interesting. It was a well executed movie, very long, but I loved seeing Sarah Paulson and Sandra Bullock together again. Last time I saw them on screen together was Ocean's 8, which was great. And this movie worked because it kind of explained why people are killing themselves, because they're seeing the beauty, they're seeing their loved ones to join everyone, something to that extent. Happening didn't do that. Happening was just like, yeah, Mother Nature's just killing everybody because she can. It didn't really work. This explanation worked more. And there's a big difference between Quiet Place and Bird Box. You know, obviously Bird Box, you can't see things. Quiet Place, you can't make a sound. You have to be quiet. So I get it, but like, it's different. We don't actually see creatures in this film. We see the creatures in Quiet Place. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It kept me on suspense. It was a good apocalyptic movie. And I liked seeing the chaos that was ensuing from going to the hospital to eventually getting to B.D. Wong's house. Who had a gorgeous house, by the way. Very beautiful house. Flooring was pretty cool. It was all slate all over the place. That's it. Did you guys see Bird Box? Do you now understand why all the memes are hysterical from Bird Box? What are your thoughts on Bird Box and how it was an logical story which did elicit fears and horror without actually showing a creature? Very smart. Good job, everyone. Bravo. Mucho mahalo, guys.